On this week's episode, we're going to be talking about income riders and why the fee shouldn't scare you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode. I am Chad Owen, the Annuity Sales Coach, and here's Caleb, the income projection / planning coach.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's fun.
We could do, what's it called? Case design coach.
I do love case design.
You do like
I
it?
nerd
So,
out over it.
There you go. You're the case design coach.
I'll take it.
We finally figured out a title for you. What, 3? How many years have you worked with me?
3.5. Going on 4.
Gosh. Do you know I used to have a lot of hair and it was dark?
And now it's very light and gray and almost
It's
white.
not very light and very gray.
Well, the chin hair's
that's
mostly
true.
white.
Yeah, it should be white around the ears because I have to listen to you talk all the time. So that's where most of the stress comes in, is when I hear you talk. So,
That's
then I
funny.
have to come up with the rebuttal. Caleb, stop. Caleb, stop. Caleb, don't do this. Caleb, stop.
It's always the okay.
Yeah, that's
Quick,
true.
okay.
That's true. I
That
never
means wrap
realized.
it up.
I never realized how much I do that till we were just on vacation. I'm like, okay.
You're sitting at the
And-
dinner table. Okay.
Oh, yep.
Get up.
That's it. Yeah, it's so true. Little things that I have going that I never realized.
It's true.
Okay, so income riders.
Why the fee shouldn't scare you. Before we even talk about the fee and why it shouldn't scare you, I want to build a case for income riders, period. Because there's still people out there that even if the income rider was free, I think they would look at that and go, I don't see the benefit. So I want to make a case for income riders and then address the fee and a couple of other common objections about the way that the annuities are structured. But 1 in 3 Americans use Social Security as their primary retirement income source.
That's a scary thought.
It's rarely adequate to create any kind of surplus. So there's a case for it right there. Number 2, approximately 1/4 of retirees have a company pension. 25% alone have a company pension. And I didn't find any statistic on joint survivorship or any kind of.
If I go off mine, I'd probably say 50% is single and 50% is joint.
And full joint, like 100% survivorship?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, when I'm talking about full joint, that means 100% survivorship.
Right.
When I'm talking about single, I'm talking about if one's down, either the income goes away or it's greatly diminished.
Right.
Yeah.
The rebuttal to that, or I guess the strength of the annuities effectively create what is like a personalized pension plan. And if you look specifically at FIAs with income riders, there's an even greater amount of individual benefits in the product. Number 3, women are proportionately significantly underprepared financially for retirement than men. But you have joint lifetime income options and fixed indexed annuities
My
with
wife
income
would be
riders.
better if I wasn't around financially.
That's
Maybe psychologically. She works really hard to keep me alive. So.
It's dangerous being worth more than you dead than you are alive.
Actually, I'm not worth more dead.
Okay.
I have a lot of potential. You have potential.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Number 4, almost 60% of retired Americans rely on Social Security. That means that without Social Security,
They're in deep
their
trouble.
income is
That seems
not good.
way too high.
60%.
That seems way too high.
It was literally 57 and change, so I just said almost 60.
I run into, if they didn't have Social Security, they would be in deep trouble.
Yeah.
Vast majority. Wow, that's interesting.
Yep. So an alternative stream of guaranteed lifetime income, it helps pad that.
Yep.
The resounding biggest fear amongst retirees is outliving their funds. I mean,
That's
do
huge.
a simple,
Yep.
unbiased Google search about what is retirees' biggest fears, and you will see article after article after article about outliving retirement funds.
And I think that started around the 2010 to 2012 timeframe when that really became a thing, because before that, by far, their biggest fear was death.
Mm-hmm. When did pensions start being more frequently replaced at large by 401ks?
Man, so I would say probably early 2000s, latter 1990s, where you started to see that shift. Now I think it's much less common for people to have any sort of pension whatsoever, and
Right.
almost everybody's going to 401k, with the exception of a lot of unions are still doing pensions, teachers programs are doing pensions, cities are still doing pensions. But I mean, God, man, some of these cities, there's Dallas, this was a year or two, maybe 3 years ago. The other day, I heard, remember the other days, either yesterday or it could be 10 years from now.
That's right.
Or in the back. But they dropped police officer and firefighters' pensions by 8%. And I'm like, so most cities I would not trust to be managing the pension money. I mean, unless, of course, it's backed by an annuity, but I don't know if I've ever ran into a city pension that uses an annuity for its pension plan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I would be curious to see. I mean, if you look at happiness studies, people with pensions tend to be happier because they know that there's checks coming. And that brings me to my sixth point and my sixth argument for guaranteed lifetime income is a handful of studies indicate that people with guaranteed lifetime income are happier and live longer than those who don't.
I would agree with that completely.
Yeah.
And think about that. You're on a cruise ship and you don't have to worry about what the market's doing.
Right.
When your income's coming in.
Totally. I would be really curious. And this was a thought I just had, Chad, and it might be too open-ended. You're the agent in the field, so I'd be curious what your thoughts are. But this idea of you're working with somebody who has a 401k, you feel like, a 401k rollover into an IRA, an annuity with an income rider is like a great option for them.
Yep.
Just simply the question of, hey, if 35, 40 years ago you could have opted for a pension plan rather than a 401k, would you have done it?
That's an interesting question.
Because
I bet you most would say yes.
And if they would, then rolling that 401k into an annuity that essentially creates a personalized pension would be a no-brainer for them.
Huh. You may have just gave me a new idea during appointments. I'm going to test that
I'd be really
one out.
curious. I mean, the challenge is it opens it up for no, I would totally take the 401k. And then the follow-up to, well, why would you take the 401k over the pension? Try and get behind the scenes to understand their thinking.
Most people nowadays with what the market's doing would not have taken the 401k if they'd be honest. Huh.
So I'd be curious if you were to try that question.
When did you think of this?
Like while we're sitting here talking.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, if you would have thought of this before, I would have smacked you in the head. It's like,
I've been sitting on that one for 5 weeks.
That's a great question to ask. I think I'll add that into the fact finder.
All right. Well, there's going to be an updated fact finder coming your way.
Yeah.
Agents Academy members.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about the fee. And there's actually, when I look at fixed indexed annuities with income riders.
Did you really just come up with that right now?
I did.
That was super smart.
Yeah. Bingo.
I'm impressed.
That's my nugget for the podcasters.
Did you stay out at a Holiday Inn last night?
I did not.
Oh, well, okay.
Why?
You haven't seen that commercial?
No.
They're in there, they're operating on a patient, and they go, "Where's the doctor? This isn't the normal doctor." And, "Are you a doctor?" And he goes, "No, I'm not a doctor, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night." And it talks about how you get such a good night's rest the night before, you can do anything the next day.
Oh, my God.
They have a whole series on that.
That's pretty clever. That's good marketing.
Pretty clever. Okay.
All right. Talking about the 3 quote unquote, and I have in air quotes. So if you're watching YouTube, you see this. If you're on the podcast, you don't. But I am air quoting.
This is one time I'll tell you, don't watch YouTube.
The 3 costs to the lifetime income benefit rider: the fee, the surrender period, and limitation on gains. And before you get too riled up, Chad, I understand your thought process on the latter. Well, I actually understand your thought process on all 3, but I want to handle all 3 because they're all 3 could be objections that arise in positioning a fixed indexed annuity with an income rider.
But I would like to say the greatest cost of an income rider is not having one when it's needed.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Boy, we're full of wisdom today.
That's right. I couldn't think of alternative drawbacks to the structure of FIAs with income riders other than those 3. And realistically, all 3 of them are moot points when you actually consider them deeply.
Correct. I mean, think about this. If you have a broker that charges you 1.5% fee to manage your money, what does that fee get you? Absolutely nothing. You add mutual funds in that. Now it's 2 to 2.5%, 3%. What does that fee get you? Absolutely nothing. What does this fee get you? It gets you income for life without market risk.
Right. Yeah. I mean, generally the income rider fees, you're looking at anywhere from 0% to about 1.25% on the high end. There's some that are north of that and everywhere in between. Generally calculated on the benefit base, deducted from the account value. Again, there are exceptions to that rule. And yes, some income riders are free, but you have to remember that if the insurance company's giving it in one area, they're taking it in another.
Yep.
There's only 100 pennies in every dollar.
Yep.
So it's gotta go round. I would also argue it's nearly impossible to find a free rider because of that concept that is as beneficial as a rider that has a fee. But even with the fee,
there's a lot that like to pitch that free rider.
Oh, it's true.
Going, wait a second, man, come on.
The numbers just aren't the same. The benefits just aren't the same. And for me, consider the two options like of market performance. You have the guaranteed worst case scenario, and you have this possible scenario where there's actually market returns.
I'd like to say this is why I love our FMO. I mean, we own Retirement Reliance Financial, and I'll tell you, I plug that shamelessly because after being in this business for 18 years, I am so tired of the number of marketing organizations that push product, even so much so over the years where this was before I really, understood the number of products out of there. As far as I never thought someone would actually do that intentionally. And then I went out to this one appointment. This was, probably 15 years ago. I went out to the appointment and I used the illustration my marketer gave me. And I said, oh, here's the best product out there. And they go, oh, really? So-and-so just showed me this, and this one's better. And sure enough, they were right. I looked at them going, dang, this is better. I went back to my marketer and I said, you're fired. I mean, that literally was it, because I sat there and I'm going, you lied to me. Well, I didn't say, I said it's the best product we have. I said, no. You said this was the best product, not the best product of what you guys carried. And I always want to be real clear on that, because there's marketing organizations that funnel through a particular organization. And I've lost count of the number of different scenarios we have with the number of different companies. I mean, if you go into my office, I have awards from doing this for so long, but there's so many different companies up there. And it's because, and there's some that I have nothing, because you're not going to get an award for writing 250,000, but because you wrote it with that company, it was because that was the best product for that situation.
Sure.
And so, there's a lot of companies that I write little cases with. When I say little, I write under $1 million with them. And once again, that doesn't get you any award, but it does from the standpoint of your clients getting the right product.
Mm-hmm.
And so we look at the income riders, we look at the index strategies, we look at the bonuses. I mean, it all has to equal out. My end result for picking the right company with the right income rider is which one gets the client the best payout with the best benefits and great customer service, all while having a super financially stable company.
Right.
And so that's how I pick it.
Yeah. I look at the two options of what could happen in this scenario. You sell an income rider with a fee. Okay. And you have the guaranteed worst case scenario where the market literally is either negative or zero for a 30, 35-year block there. If the client outlives the account value, which is likely to occur in that scenario, because that account value is only going to last 10 to 15 years, depending on how high the income amount is. Let's say even 20. They're 65. They make it to 85. Now they're completely in the insurance company's pocket, continuing to get that guaranteed lifetime income in a scenario that if they were at risk, that money would have already been dissolved half a decade before or a whole decade before. I
just had somebody ask me that. Well, I can get almost this amount for the next 20 years if I just pull it out from my current account and I don't make anything. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I said, so you're dying at 85? Well, I don't know. Okay, then what do you do if you lived 86, 87, 88? What about your wife? She's 5 years younger than you. What happens there? And they're like, oh, man, I am
totally
80% of I'd say 90% of my applications have an income rider on that. 80% of my volume is with income riders. Mm-hmm. I'd say that's probably an accurate statement.
Yeah, because you'll have big cases throughout the year where
Yes.
their income is so gargantuous
set.
already that it's not even a concern, and it's
Correct.
just purely protection and
Yep.
accumulation.
Yep.
The alternative option is that the index strategies elected there's actual market performance. We're positively moving. We're crediting back and within the product design itself, the interest credits more than cover the fee.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like at that point, whether the market tanks for 35 years or the market performs, you're better off in the annuity or it covers the fee itself.
Well, I go back to what I said at the end of our last podcast. Got so many people that are anti-income rider fee, but they'll put a fee on the actual indice that they have them.
Sure.
That doesn't even make sense. And then you look at people that are so used to paying fees. So then you got a fee on top of an indice. No wonder the SEC wants to try and take over our business because we're adding fees on indices. But the reality is the fee and the income rider is not based off of the success of the index from the standpoint of your primary concern is income for life. So the fee in a variable account will take away, and whether it's gaining or losing, where the fee in an indexed annuity with an income rider, its primary purpose is to provide income for the rest of life.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's a purpose driven. I mean, I don't even know, honestly, what the fee is for in a brokerage accounts when they can't even guarantee any sort of success whatsoever.
Right.
I mean, and especially when you run into most institutions right now, if you don't have a lot of zeros after your account, they're not managing your money. They're putting you in a computer program and they're doing age-based rebalancing.
Sure.
And they have a way to figure out how to move things around and where they make the most. I mean, it's just a fact. I have no problem with people making money, but I have a problem with people making money at the cost of someone else. In other words, there's products out there that are available that can do better for what the client needs, but because you want to get your management fee every single year, that's a problem. Yeah. You have no right to be your client's annuity. That's a fact.
And clients have you have no right making your clients your annuity. Is what?
Yes, okay. I think, didn't I say that?
You said you have no right to be your client's annuity.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
I just want to clarify what you meant.
No, please. Yeah. When your client is paying you a fee year after year, no matter how long you live, you're literally, that annuity is your annuity is the fee that client is giving you. Right. And you have no guarantees. And once again, I'm going to balance this out. I don't hate brokers. I don't hate variable accounts. I just hate it when somebody uses a variable account to try and do guarantees for income.
Right.
And that's the problem, because my worst appointments by far are the people that are at age to where they can no longer work and they've ran out of money because their broker told them they should have enough to last them the rest of their life, and they run out while they're still alive. And a lot of them run out when they're still pretty healthy too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which I think that brings up, Chad, your argument of if it's a plan for living, lifetime guaranteed income, it makes the surrender period a moot point, which is another thing that people tend to balk at, clients particularly. Yeah. Agents not so much, but clients, well, I don't want to lock my money away. It's like, well, you're generating a lifetime benefit. So a 10-year surrender period is, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
It's a lifetime benefit.
Make sure they have enough emergency funds, savings, and liquid accounts, and that should never be an issue.
I've had agents before ask, hey, Caleb, I need an income product, but I need a 5 or 7 year surrender period. And I'm like, well, okay, look, we can look at that, and I can show you why that's actually less advantageous.
Yep.
But again, it comes back to a lifetime benefit and where the insurance
for an income rider that has a guaranteed increase in it, but you're planning on walking away with this 7 years, which you lose the income rider benefit to.
Yeah, if you're planning to walk away from it at the end of the surrender, you shouldn't buy an income product in the first place.
Correct.
And then the third one that sometimes, again, not agents as much, but clients may balk at is this concept of, well, you get a portion of the gains.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, though, there's a lot of indexed annuities out there that, not a lot, there's a few really good ones that have really good index growth with a good income rider. And if you want to know about those products, reach out to Caleb. There's a few that are really good right now.
Yeah.
Good index growth with good income, I'll take that all day long.
It's true. And I sent out a sequence of returns little training video this would have been, at this point, a few weeks ago. And I showed how 50% par rate in the S&P 500 over the last 22 years has a lower average return than the full, just straight S&P 500.
Yep.
You only get a portion of the gains, but none of the losses. A lower average, and you end up money ahead. So just because it's a quote-unquote portion of the gains, you can have a lower average and still end up ahead at the end of any time period, depending, again, on the sequence of returns. So a limitation on gains is kind of a moot point, especially, again, when you're not dealing with any kind of having to make up losses.
Yep.
So,
well, that should be it, right?
That's a wrap for today.
So I hope this helps you guys. You have a great day, and, of course, happy selling.